All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another week of 2 Point Conversion. I'm John, alongside my co-host Nico, and we're excited to be back in the booth for another week. This
On
week,
time.
yeah, on time. Hopefully, we give you guys a full hour show today. Tons of sports knowledge coming your way, insights. We're gonna start off with some Yankees, break down the Giants game against the 49ers, quick recap of the Jets and their game against the Patriots, and then we'll wrap it up with a Thursday night football preview. And if we have some extra time, we'll go through some fantasy standouts. Maybe guys you should trade for, pick up in your league if they're available. So, Nico, Yankees wrap up their season this weekend. Overall, not the season we were hoping for.
That's an understatement. What's the record sitting out here?
81-77.
I remember reading a stat like it's like top five worst records in the past 20, 30 years. But what?
Continue.
Why? But I think that especially we come into every season as Yankee fans, and I'm a little biased in that you come into every season, playoffs is the floor. Playoffs is the floor, World Series ceiling, and that's not for every team. But when you're the New York Yankees, probably most popular franchise, spend the most money, although this year it was the Mets, you go into every season thinking that you're going to win.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to. That's a good point. When you are Yankees fans and you have Aaron Judge, the reigning MVP, Garrett Cole, you expect to win games, expect to be in the playoffs, at least competing for a championship. But this year, that was not the case. And I mean, we could go on for a whole hour, Nico, breaking down what the problems were this year. But simple as Yankees are not making the playoffs. However, with the win last night against the Blue Jays, they have secured a winning record for the season, which is, I got a fun fact for you here, 31 straight seasons with the winning record. That is the second longest streak ever. Only the 1926 to 1964 Yankees had a longer streak, which was 39 years. So
isn't that crazy? Overall, you go around the streets of New York City and the Bronx, and you go around and say, "Are you happy this year with the Yankees?" Absolutely not. Everyone hates.
You get one positive.
No, you don't get one positive response. You say, "No, we're absolutely terrible." But that's kind of our mentality. That's how we've been brought up. You're telling me the last game of the season is where we go positive? Is where we finish positive?
I put down some positives because
one win positive.
I don't want to be disgruntled all off season. I mean, we'll see what happens. What do you think about? Because I had the first show to myself, so I got to get all my thoughts out there. I never really got to hear your thoughts. Cashman back or no? General Manager Brian Cashman.
I would not like it, but it's 100% going to happen. I mean, we're going to talk about this whole thing that just came out this week, but I wouldn't like it. Obviously, I think people are fed up. I'm definitely fed up.
You'd like to see a fresh face in there.
I would like to see a fresh face. I don't know who that is, Jeter. But yeah, that would be crazy.
That would be something.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to ride with him. I mean, he's been the Yankees manager since what,
98, 97?
No, I think it was 90. I think 97.
He's got four. He's got four.
Yeah,
so
I think 97.
No,
maybe?
98, 99, 2000, 2009 were his four World Series when he was the general manager. And then one more question.
So he's been around for a very long time, especially very close to the Steinbrenner family with George and now with Hal. But I think that Hal, we all know, I think we can all pretty much agree that Hal is less baseball minded than George was, less winning oriented, more about making money, more about the brand, more about, the company as a whole. But now with what just came out this week, I think Hal's done. Some close source to him who meets with him regularly said he's fed up, he's done, he wants to make changes, and we're going to see. I mean, we're going to start seeing changes, whether they, make big personnel changes or just a little critiques in some of the departments. But in my opinion, there's no way that you get an analysis of the entire team and don't leave a lot of the things up to Brian Cashman. I mean, he's made a plethora amount of trades in the past, let's just say 10 years. We don't even go that far. 10 years out of his 20-plus year reign. 10 years, he's made, we could just talk about the starting pitchers alone. He's made, I think, 15 or 16 starting pitcher trades or starting pitcher acquisitions. 99% of them don't work.
Yeah, no, I mean, off the top of my head, I know
you
one
can think
one
of
name
Cole.
is,
That's
Frankie.
it.
No, Cole was a free agency signing.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying trades and
Frankie Montas last year at the deadline, we were in a better spot than we were this year. We're looking to compete in the postseason. We trade for a guy who pitched first 2 games and then has missed an entire year and a half.
In this thing, it's including trades and free agency acquisitions. So like every acquisition of a starting pitcher, you have just the top of our heads, like right now, current members: Frankie Montas, failure.
Montgomery leaves the Yankees and then he balls out.
And then he balls out with the Cardinals.
In St. Louis, correct.
And we got who I keep forgetting his name. I'm not forgetting his name. I just always blank. From the guy we got from the Giants who played 3 games and is terrible.
Rodon?
Yes, thank you.
Free agency signing also.
But yeah. I don't even look at him as a Yankee. He doesn't look like a Yankee. He doesn't act like a Yankee, and he definitely doesn't pitch like a Yankee. He was hurt the entire season. Came back for how many starts did he end up having at the end of the season?
Less than 10, maybe 6, 8.
I don't even want to know what the record is. I'm gonna look it up. 3-7.
Yeah, not
like
great.
3-7 with a 5.74 ERA.
Yeah, he got shelled.
I mean, these are guys that that everyone's begging to get traded. Cashman's going out, trading or acquiring them in free agency, and I mean, look what happens. They've all been failures. Garrett Cole's the only current Yankee that's a success that we got from a trade. Giancarlo Stanton, yes, we could say he's a big success, but again, he's hurt all the time. Give me one Yankee that we acquired that isn't Garrett Cole that you're 100% about.
Well, Rizzo suffered some injuries this year, but when Rizzo's healthy, veteran leadership, power, pulls that ball. But I like that Rizzo that trade. That was really cool.
I might agree with you, but he, like I'm saying, he is hurt the majority, maybe not the majority, but definitely a good percentage of the time. And he's
well, so with this audit coming up, one of the things I was excited to hear, I don't know if this information will ever be released to us, but one of the things that the Yankees really need to start paying attention to is the injuries. Is they have so many star players miss so many games due to injuries. What are other teams doing that the Yankees aren't doing? Or what are the Yankees? You know what I mean? What's going on there?
So
is it purely bad luck? What's going on?
We'll talk about that exactly. So over the week, Hal Steinbrenner has officially said he was done. He's he's done being a contender, I think is what he said. He's
done being a runner-up.
Done being a runner-up, yes.
Which I get.
So he went out and he is hiring a third party to complete a data and analyst audit. So this audit, right? The investigation starts in early October, so in a couple days. The company conducting the audit will not recommend personnel changes, so that means no Cashman. They won't say it
in their report. They're just going to give him the facts.
They're going to give him the facts.
Steinbrenner make the decision.
The analysis will focus on process and how the Yankees compare to other clubs. So this is all other teams in the league.
Yep.
The categories include success, failure, right, of the trades in the last decade, right? How we handled our draft picks, including the international draft, the number of games and dollars lost to injuries, and the state of minor league player development. The final report will be data-driven and purely objective. So everyone's been saying that none of this bodes for the analytics department and Brian Cashman, who runs that analytics department, because that's what we've been making trades. The Joey Gallo trade was pure analytics. Cashman said it. It's pure analytics. He is a big swing, high velocity lefty, right? Which fares well for right porch. And it turns out data can't tell what the person feels inside, and Joey Gallo couldn't handle any of the pressure in New York.
Yes, there's a very fine line, Nico, between what the numbers tell you and what actually goes on. And, it reminds me of Moneyball, where they go all in on the numbers and it works out for them and it's a great story. But that's just not always the case. Baseball does not always shake out that way. And I think our analytics department needs a full overhaul, full reconstruction from the bottom up. Or from the top down, however you want to phrase it. But I got some positives for the Yankees. If you want me to read those off, I was pretty excited to share some things.
Yeah.
All right. So Garrett Cole pitched last night. Phenomenal, complete game shutout. And so he finishes the year. That was his last start of the season. The Yankees finish up their season this weekend. One more game tonight in Toronto, and then 3 games set in Kansas City against the Royals. Garrett Cole pitched phenomenal last night, like I just said. Complete game shutout against the Blue Jays. 15-4 record on the year. That's tied for first place with the most wins. 2.63 ERA. That's first in ERA. 222 strikeouts. And this number right here really got me excited. 0.98 whip. Whip is walks and hits per innings pitched. So he's allowing less than one base runner an inning, dude. He's been dominant all year. Very, very, very few hiccups along the way. I mean, I think the Yankees are 23-10 in the games he starts. And I think the record would be even better if the offense could get some runs for him. He's locked up the Cy Young. There's not a valid argument for anybody else in the race with him. It'll be his first Cy Young award and well-deserved. So a round of applause to Garrett Cole, our ace. It's a shame that we're not going to see him pitch in the postseason this year.
The only good silver lining in this entire season, I would say. I mean, you take your starting pitcher, lights out, number one, and he goes out and wins you a Cy Young while the rest of the team is just playing terrible.
I know.
I mean, if we played good, he's winning a Cy Young. This would be a great year, but it still got a little sour taste.
I got one more crazy number for you too. So Judge hit 2 home runs last night. He's I think he's at 37 on the year.
Yeah.
And I saw someone did the math. He would be on pace for 58 or 59 home runs if he had played a full season.
I think I don't know what he ended up finishing out, but I remember seeing last month that like after he came back, he started hitting a couple home runs, and he was like 6 or 7 off the leader or something like that. Like
he's really
he comes back, misses 40 games, and still is like in range of winning the batting title, which makes the home runs. It makes no sense.
So Nico, there are some bright spots. I know this year wasn't our year, and I know it's frustrating we don't get to see Garrett pitch in the postseason this year. But Nico, we have some of the best pieces in baseball on our roster. So let's be positive about that.
I wouldn't say that.
Judge and Cole are not the best. Some of the best pieces in baseball.
Yeah, sure, but it's not in baseball specifically. It's not good enough. It's not.
We got to surround them.
I mean, you look at, let's just say, who's the best team? I mean, let's just say the Braves, right?
Braves are the best team in baseball.
They're probably the best team. I mean, look at who they have. You can go through their roster, and almost everywhere you could find a star, right? You have Spencer Strider, right, who's gross. You have, in the field, Matt Olson, who's gross. Ozzie, gross. Who else is there?
You're missing Acuna.
Acuna, gross.
You're missing
but he's
Sean
a little
Murphy, catcher. Yeah, he's going to be a Gold Glove.
Yeah, like you're
all-star
throughout
catcher.
the lineup. You see stars, and that's what makes a great team.
Yeah,
that's what makes a great team. All these good teams in the league. We're talking. I don't know what the standings are right now because I really haven't.
And
watching.
My respect for the Braves too is a lot of those stars are homegrown guys that they developed in their system.
We see that with the Orioles.
Yep.
The Orioles are all homegrown. They wait. I mean, they had years and years of misery, obviously, but you see where they're at.
So let me ask you a question. So the Yankees, 31 straight consecutive winning seasons, always focus winning now. Do you think we're starting to pay the price a little bit for that when teams like the Orioles?
No, because I don't think we're going enough. As a Yankee fan, I don't think we're going enough. If you want to spend money, we're billions and billions of dollars organization. If you want to win, I don't think Hal wants to win. If you want to win, you spend the money to win. Right? You spend the money to win. Right? Forget about the Mets. Right? The Mets went and got veterans. I don't want that. I want Hal Steinbrenner to go out there, get me a starting left fielder, get me a center fielder because Dominguez is going to be out half the year. Put Judge in right. I want a starting third baseman in this league, a good starting third baseman. I don't want Josh Johnson. I don't want IKF. I want a starting third baseman, right? Volpe at short.
Re-sign Glaber, put him at second. He had a good year.
You gotta get rid of Glaber.
He had probably the best year of any Yankee.
I absolutely despise Glaber.
What about Glaber do you despise?
I just he's so on and off. Yes, he's good, but then he's good batting. He has problems in the field.
Some lackluster plays, yeah, but
right.
Best Yankee hitter.
Go out and spend the money. I mean, thank God now we're bringing some of the kids up. We got Austin Wells behind the plate. We got Peraza. We got why am I drawing a blank on his name?
You're talking about Peraza. We got
Peraza, Volpe, Wells, and I forgot the other kid.
Pereira,
that's his name. You got all these players. Let's use them. and get starting pitching help, please. Our bullpen started out the season probably one of the best in the league. Get some starting pitching help. Rodon, Montas are not going to help us. They're injury prone and they don't play well.
I'm not totally out on Rodon yet. He
No,
showed some
no.
flashes.
Listen, he had a rough year,
Back
and I get
tightness,
that. Give him
back
one more
issues the
year.
whole year.
Montas is getting me mad just because this is kind of a year and a half in. We got him at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And he didn't play.
Didn't play this entire year, yeah.
So,
No,
like,
very frustrating by Montas, but I don't know. Injuries, dude. I don't know. I don't know how you evaluate those. I don't know what the Yankees are doing wrong, but it feels like all our star players get injured. It's really frustrating. That's all I got for the Yankees today. They wrap up the season this weekend against the Kansas City Royals. Moving on now to Giants recap. They played a week ago, Thursday night, last week against the 49ers. Final score, Giants lost 30-12, but the score doesn't reflect that the game was pretty close for 3 quarters. I think in the start of the third quarter, Nico, the Giants were able to bring it to a 5-point game, and then in the fourth quarter, shut out 10-0, outscored 10-0 in the fourth. 49ers yards after catch was just killing us. Brock Purdy threw for 300 yards, but if you go back and watch the tape, it really doesn't look like he threw for 300 yards. A lot of those yards came after the catch. Way too many missed tackles. Nico, I know there's some things bugging you about this game that you want to get off your chest, so let's break it down.
Listen, I'm less angry than you. I mean, you know me. I'm less angry than usual for a Giants loss. I would say the Cowboys game is way more angry because we were supposed to be close. I was way more angry for the Cowboys. We were supposed to be closing that gap. And we obviously didn't. But this game, I mean, what are we gonna do? I mean, like, really, what can you do? You went into that game. What can you do?
I know without our best player, Saquon Barkley, we had already
forget about the player. Like, what do you think if we go in a fully healthy roster? How do you think that game turns out? Probably the same way, no?
Probably the same way. Maybe Saquon can get us a little more going on the ground because we only had 29 rushing yards. The 49ers knew how to play us. They shut down the run early. The Giants didn't even try to run it. Matt Breida, our backup running back, only had 4 carries. Giants didn't really even give an effort to run the ball. If Saquon Barkley's there, maybe the game is a little more balanced. Our offense is a little more run-pass balanced. But you can't go into a game like that without Saquon Barkley, rely on the pass, and then Daniel Jones gets no time to throw the ball. I want to rant about this offensive line so bad, Nico. I know you have some thoughts, but it's been abysmal. And I don't know how else to describe it. We've invested heavily in the offensive line. We used the 4th overall pick on Andrew Thomas, 7th overall pick on Andrew Neal, a 2nd-round pick on John Michael Schmidt, our center, and a 3rd-round pick, 67th overall on Josh Izuru. And right now, PFF has us ranked last in pass protection of the entire league. So what's going on? We've invested. Is it coaching? Is it guys that are busts? I'm not ready to call Evan Neal a bust just yet, but this offensive line is so frustrating, man.
I definitely am. I'll tell you this right now. I think we could both agree Andrew Thomas, Pro Bowl left tackle. He is a dog.
We missed him too last week.
Missed him too. Forget it. I mean, this week we were going to get beat either way. I think the Niners are probably the best team in the NFC, if not in the league. They have all around. They have great players. Their offensive line is not fantastic, but they do have Trent Williams on the left side. So it doesn't really matter. Their defensive line is all pro. They have I think 3 all pro players on that defense. But what we're like, if we're going to talk about during the season or this season right now, left tackle to right tackle, the only really position that I'm secure about is that left tackle position.
Yeah,
left guard to right tackle is very weak. But I'll tell you something. I do have some hope for center. John Michael Schmidt, I think, let him just get into his groove. He actually had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
He had a decent game against the Niners. He had a great game against the Cardinals.
He was the one bright spot,
and he didn't have a bad game against the Cowboys either. Give him a couple weeks to get into play. Like Andrew Thomas wasn't really that good his rookie year either. But you can kind of see those things. Like John Michael Schmidt, especially in the center position where I think it's easier than the tackles, he does a little bit better of getting to his marks and just getting his hands up and just being physical.
You saw a couple times during that game, he was able to get to the second level, win that first block. Like they do that zone scheme where if no one's lined directly over JMS, he'll help a guard push that guy off to the right or to the left, and then boom, he's quick. He's so quick. It's like 2 steps,
Yeah,
and he's on the linebacker.
He's a
Which
very
is
athletic.
really cool.
He's very athletic.
But
You see that in Andrew Thomas too. They're very athletic players. Evan Neal is very athletic too, but his skills aren't there either.
Can I tell you why I'm not ready to call Evan Neal a bust? So apparently, I read this article last week. I should have shared it with you. I'll see if I can find it after the show. It's an article about how NFL coaches are complaining that it's harder than ever to transition college offensive linemen to the pros because college has become insanely pass heavy, spread offenses. The wide receivers are spread way out there, and they're running this offense that doesn't really translate well to the NFL. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, the Giants offense doesn't look anything like that. There's maybe 1 or 2 offenses in the whole NFL, Dolphins maybe, and maybe one other team, Seahawks,
I
that
think the
really
Dolphins
are
definitely
built like
operate
that.
like a college team.
And so they're saying it's a lot harder to operate for these guys from the spread offense to an NFL offense. So that's why I'm saying, okay, maybe Evan Neal, because he has all the physical traits, like you said, he's quick, he's agile, he's a big body, but man, he's having a very difficult time. He's having a very difficult time.
I think that he's scared. I think he plays scared. Excuse me. I think he plays scared. If you watch some film of him, he gets to his mark. Sometimes he gets to his marks, but sometimes so the way the tackle should work is you take 3 steps vertically, and then you could drop back into your stance and then try to block. He'll get to his second step and then rush his feet, and then he gets taken advantage of on the outside.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
It's literally exactly how it works.
I know. The play, it literally just popped in my head. It's 1-2, and he throws out the arm.
He throws out the arm, gets caught,
and it's beat every time.
Yeah, every time. So
Bosa did it to him 3 or 4 times.
You could take it when watching Andrew Thomas and watching Evan Neal, how different they are. Andrew Thomas, very confident, very athletic, gets to his mark, 1, 2, 3, and throws the arm, gets the jab out there, and takes advantage. He could get caught sometimes, sure, but Evan Neal is he has no patience he has no patience in the way he's going to work. He doesn't have any confidence in his game, and we've seen that in the first 2 years.
And then one more guy that I wanted to talk about, Nico, that really needs to get it going for us is our tight end, Darren Waller. We acquired him over the offseason. Nico, he's been quiet. It's been all quiet over there. Through 3 games, he has 12 catches, 132 yards, and no touchdowns. Disappointing to say the least. I know the offense hasn't been clicking at all, but Darren, well, I'm going to need to see 7, 8 catches out of you, 80, 90, 100 yards or something, man, because you look like Daniel Bellinger, maybe even, I don't know. It's not clicking, and we saw all this hype in the preseason.
I think
where is it?
We can't base our assessment off this Niners game, because what the Niners do very well is they have a very strong upfront line, right? And then they're pressuring, but that while they're pressuring, they also give pressure on the corners and on the linebackers. So and we saw this if you see it with Jalen Hyatt this week, that's why we really didn't play him that much. He struggles with pressure off the line, right? Because he's a smaller dude.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're getting rushed and you have 2 seconds to throw the ball, and then the corners are also coming in and they're pressuring their wide receivers, I mean, we can't base it. We should really see it against the Seahawks team, who are way more mediocre. I mean, not mediocre. They're a good team.
A better matchup for
us.
They're
a better matchup for the Giants.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. Yeah, we could get into that game, dude. A little preview of that game. Giants play the Seahawks. Prime time. I absolutely hate it. Daniel Jones does so terrible in prime time. Every single time. My boy's got 1 career win in prime time, but I'm going to try and be positive, all right? Seahawks, like Nico pointed out just now, are a much better matchup for the Giants. One of my keys to the game, Nico, is they got to get pressure on Geno Smith. They had 2 sacks against the 49ers. They had no sacks previously in the season, so that's a good sign. Kayvon got his first one. I called it last week. I said Kayvon was going to get a sack. So if you let Geno Smith stand there in the pocket all day, he's going to tear us up. He's got 3 very good wide receivers in DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Njigba. He led the league last year in completion percentage. He will take the easy passes, rack up the yards, and win the game. Giants, you need to get pressure on him. And I'm looking for hopefully Deontay Banks gets healthy and he can play because
Yeah, I mean,
he plays with confidence. I
like
like
I
what
was
I see
saying,
him on the
I
field.
was telling you before, we got key returns in week 4, right? Hopefully everything works out. Saquon is limited day to day. Probably won't play in my
That's what I'm
opinion.
seeing. I don't think he's
He'll
going to
probably
play.
sit out one or 2 more games. He's probably unlikely to play. Deontay Banks got his arm hurt in the Niners, is good to go. They cleared him already.
Good,
He is
awesome.
practicing.
He plays confident for a rookie.
I think especially in that Niners game, you see him playing good coverage.
He got beat on that one
D
touchdown.
yeah,
Great
I mean,
route by the wide
he
receiver.
wasn't really beat though, I mean, they were just I mean, it was just a good ball, good placement. He was physical. It's not really his fault, right?
Mhm.
But he's coming back, which is great. He's gonna play. Ben Bredesen on the left guard side, I believe he plays left guard. He is coming back. He's likely to return from concussion protocol. Let's just get I mean, I don't know what the Andrew Thomas is gonna look like. He's questionable. I don't know what his
I think
return
he's
is.
leaning towards playing. I think he's leaning
If he's
towards
playing,
playing. I hope.
I mean, that's a great addition. Aziz is always hurt. Ojolari, he's always hurt. He's been hurt, I feel like, every game for the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But this Seahawks game, if we get to the quarterback, we play our game. Let's run the football, even if it's with Matt Breida. He is a good running back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He is a good running back. Brightwell is a good receiving back. Let's use them. Use them. Because like I said to you when Saquon went down, running back is the most expendable position that we have, right? That anyone has. You can find a good running back anywhere. You see it in
Miami, Raheem
you see it in
Mostert,
Miami
bro.
and
Yeah.
A-Chain, right? You got the 34-year-old Mostert, and then you have this guy who no one's ever heard of, A-Chain, running 50 yards down the field. Then in LA, you have Kyron Williams, who was ranked last in athleticism at the combine. Last.
Crazy, right?
And he's starting and he's putting up numbers in fantasy.
Mhm.
But let's use Matt Breida. Let's run the ball, right?
Because I think our offense just became too predictable in that game. Yes, when you're down, you have to pass the ball, move the ball. But, dude, you only run it 4 times.
Yeah,
San
we didn't run the
Francisco
ball.
knows what you're going to do, man.
Yeah.
They got you figured out. They're not stressing.
It was definitely a weak play call, and we could I'm not going to blame Brian Dable because Brian Dable is calling these plays. It's 100% now. All game this week, he had the thing covering up his mic. He was calling the plays. Mike Kafka was making no voices.
Mhm.
He was not calling anything.
Yeah, saw that a couple times too.
So I'm not blaming Brian Dable for the calls, but it's a hard team to call against. The Seahawks should be a lot better.
I think we get a win against the Seahawks. I'm not gonna say it's a must win.
I mean,
but
we're at home underdogs.
But dude, we got the following weeks after the Seahawks, we got Dolphins and Bills. And
so would you say
not to be so pessimistic, but I don't really like our chances in those games.
Yeah.
So we got to get this one against the Seahawks. At least go into 2-4.
Yeah.
Not out of it completely, but I mean, if we're 1-6.
No, listen, I'll tell you, I agree. I think that we have to win this game because
1-5.
Tyreek Hill is going to run an absolute marathon on every single one of our corners. Mostert is going to run down our throats. We need to get a win here in Seattle because we're going to have a problem. I do like our chances against the Bills more than I like them against the Dolphins, but still underdogs in both games.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So let's get this win Monday against the Seahawks, prime time in the Meadowlands. DJ, come on, baby, prime time. Let's get it. Quick Jets recap for you. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I've been hearing just so much negative Jets stuff on the radio. Not sure how much of it I could take or even listen to. I thought this would be the week, Nico, that they went out and made a play for a quarterback. Because what I saw that first don't give me that. What I saw in that first game, Nico, I said it on that first episode of our show. I think they have all the pieces to be a contender outside of the quarterback position. This was the week, okay? You gave Zach Wilson 3 chances. He has not shown you anything to get excited about. This was the week. Make a trade. Make a signing.
But for
something.
Who would you pick up if you're
at this point, anybody. I'd take Carson Wentz right now. I would take Carson Wentz over Zach Wilson all day. Dude, he's not getting it done. He is not getting it done at all. My first chance was Gardner Minshew. They missed that. They waited. Now Minshew's balling out. He just beat the Ravens. Okay? That was my first choice. You were hating on that choice a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's good.
Dude, he just beat the Ravens.
I think he has Michael.
And then held on, and they beat the other team.
I think he has a very good coach and a decent defense behind him.
Without Jonathan Taylor, so
I mean, without Jonathan Taylor, but Zach Moss isn't no scrub either.
Okay, but he's winning games, and Zach Wilson isn't. Simple as. Okay? Then my next choice was probably going to be, I don't even know who my next choice would have been, but if you guys haven't seen, they signed Trevor Siemian this week. Trevor Siemian. He played in 2 games last year with the Bears, 6 games the year before that with New Orleans. He had a decent year with the Broncos in 2016, but really nothing since then. That's 2016 we're talking about. And this is the guy we're going to bring in. Man, the Jets are losing a hold on that locker room. They're fighting on the sidelines. All I've been seeing and hearing on Twitter is that Robert Saleh is this close to losing the locker room and the support of his defense.
I think he lost it already. If I'm being completely honest, he's been coming out here for the past year and a half, right? He has been saying, we're riding with our guy. We think Zach gives us the best chance to win. Zach gives us the best. He doesn't.
It's going to cost him his job. It's going to cost him his job.
A star-studded lineup. You have two rookies of the year from last year, right? Defensive and offensive. And you have a pretty good defense. I'm not going to say that it's locked down like it was last year, but I do think it's a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you have great running backs, even though Dalvin Cook is washed. Garrett Wilson, who is a stud.
All very good points. Yeah,
I mean, the offensive line does need a lot of work, which I agree, and it gives Zach no time. But he's got to go. He's got to get into it. Trade him. Get him into another system. I think that he could be talented if he gets into another system and grows from there. He can't. He's been thrown into the Jet system with his first year, rookie head coach, right? Terrible offensive line, no weapons. I mean, you start off your career at that low confidence. I mean, he hasn't really improved.
I know. And the New York media on your back every single day. Jets have been waiting for a winning season for a long time, for a playoff run since 2010, and a lot of pressure on this kid. But okay, Robert Saleh, like how much longer are you going to stay on this? In the NFL, you adapt or you die, and you're going to lose your job because you're banking on this kid. And I don't think he's ever going to show up.
No,
he did nothing against the Patriots. The Patriots held him in check all day. Jets haven't won against the Patriots in I don't know how many years. It was ugly. I think up until the fourth quarter or third quarter at some point when I was watching the game, they had only had like 45 yards of offense. Yeah, really bad.
I mean, I think it was like 1 first down or something like a couple first downs. It's just like the entire game. It was just
to make matters
like,
worse.
I'm watching the game, and yes, you are playing. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
To make matters worse, they have the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night.
Yeah, that's a beatdown.
In the Meadowlands. Taylor Swift rumored to be in attendance. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sick and tired of hearing about that. No one cares.
You know what someone said on the radio?
Well, my sister-in-law did the have you been seeing that trend where like, oh my God, I can't believe Travis Kelce's like famous now, right? And because of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And she did it to my brother, and he lost it. He was like, "What do you mean? Travis Kelce's always been famous, Super Bowl, like whatever."
Well, he's been getting more famous. Someone on the radio said they were like, "Oh, Taylor Swift might be going to the Jets game," and then someone said, "Tell her to bring her mom, and then Zach Wilson will play better."
I like that. Yeah,
I thought that was funny. But dude, I mean, Nico, like,
but if we
Trevor Siemian, can we just go back to that for 1 second?
Yeah.
Is he any better than Zach Wilson? Is he going to be an answer for the Jets?
Can I be honest with you? I think any replacement is better than Zach Wilson.
Fair enough. Okay.
Any replacement is better than Zach Wilson. You need someone else in that room. Mike White did better, and Mike White's terrible. He just gets hurt every play.
You know what's funny? Mike White, as a backup quarterback in Miami, threw for more touchdowns than Zach Wilson did last week. And Robbie Chosen caught more touchdowns than all the Jets wide receivers did as a 4th string wide receiver in Miami. Mike White threw 2 passes, by the way.
That's insane. That's 2 passes.
Threw a bomb touchdown.
That's insane. I mean, if you go through there, like,
Mike White,
if you go, let's go through we'll go through the Jets next couple of games. Chiefs, I mean, rough. Broncos is that's a toss-up,
right.
But the Broncos defense is bad. The Broncos offense isn't really that bad.
I thought their defense is better than. I know they just let up 70 points, but like you got Surtain,
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
their
Yeah, no,
their
70. You
offense
let up
is
70 points. Yeah, that's
their
terrible.
offense is actually much better than people give credit for.
Okay.
The Dolphins' defense is good. They did put up 20 points. I mean, the defense just couldn't hold up.
Yeah, one of them was a kick return though.
And well, yeah, but that goes into special teams. Eagles against Jets, Jets Giants, Jets Chargers, Jets Raiders, Jets Bills, Jets
Tough, tough,
Dolphins.
tough,
I
tough.
don't see a win here for the Jets. I
That
really don't.
Broncos game,
Maybe in like
maybe against us.
maybe against us. I don't even think so. I don't even think they play the Falcons later this year. I don't think they're gonna beat them. They might beat the Texans. I mean, we're looking at a 3-4-5 win team. And
That's
you're
crazy.
coming off a off season where you're going to the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, big thing. I never got into it. I told you that
I
all
know.
summer
Yeah,
long.
you,
I never believed it.
dude. You said it,
That
man. You
they're
said
never
it.
they were never going to the playoffs because the Jets are always going to be the Jets.
Guess we'll never know what could have been if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, man.
I think the only way that Joe Douglas fixes this.
Who starts Sunday night? Do you think Zach Wilson or Simeon?
Zach Wilson is going to start.
Oh, man.
Yes, they're going to
Come
start Zach Wilson.
on, man.
If they're losing at halftime and they do not pick up another or do not put in another quarterback, I want Robert Saleh
fired Monday morning.
Fired.
Yeah.
No. Forget about Monday morning. Walking back into the locker room after like post game, fire him. I'm not even a Jets fan. I don't care. I don't even care, but fire him. Jet fans are never going to see happiness with this guy as their coach and as their I mean, Joe Douglas, he's brought in a bunch of great players, but he is also responsible for Zach Wilson's failure.
I agree, Nico. I agree. So you think Jets lose to the Chiefs Sunday night and Zach Wilson starts at quarterback again?
100%. Yeah, I think Robert Saleh has been on record.
I just
saying
don't understand though. What is Robert Saleh's commitment?
They don't want to. They don't want to prove themselves wrong.
Does Zach Wilson have some blackmail on him?
Imagine.
No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. I'm just thinking like I don't like. I get it. He's trying to support his guy, and I'm not saying he has to bury Zach Wilson. But dude, you say to the guy, listen, you're getting benched. It's a competitive league. Adapt or die, man. I don't know. Moving on from the Jets, a little Thursday night football preview. I'm excited for this game, Nico. This is a good,
it's good
NFC North rivalry matchup.
Absolutely.
You got the 2-1 Detroit Lions traveling to Green Bay to take on the 2-1 Packers. Quick injury report, and then we'll get into some key game points. Out for the Packers, you have David Bakhtiari, their all-pro left tackle. Devondre Campbell, their Pro Bowl linebacker, is out. Questionable for the Lions is running back David Montgomery. I've been seeing he's probably not going to play tonight, which is good for my man Jahmyr Gibbs. Questionable is Aaron Jones. Questionable is wide receiver Christian Watson, who hasn't played a snap this year. And questionable is Jair Alexander, Pro Bowl cornerback for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of questionables, bunch of people out this game, but I think it's going to be a good game. I've been saying this, I think, since last year, since he came in for that one game when Rodgers was out, but I'm a big fan of Julian Love, like big fan, right? I think he's got a.
Oh, did I call him? No, Jordan Love.
Jordan. Sorry. Did I say Julian?
Yeah.
It's
all good.
That was the Giant safety.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, big fan. I think he's got a very nice arm. I think he's accurate with his throws. He looks more poised than a bunch of these new quarterbacks coming out. Like, you talk about Bryce Young, who was playing. I think he looks more poised than all these, even though he's,
to be fair,
even though he's not a rookie.
2 years.
Yes.
He had 2 years to learn.
100%. But this is his first year playing as the starter. I'm saying he looks way more poised. I think what they did in Green Bay was really good. They had him sit behind Rodgers and, learn from him. And he came in and look, they're 2-1.
Yeah, look at the stats he's got up here too. It's the last bullet point.
Yeah, so he's thrown 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception, right? He is 655 yards and a 94.7 rate
over 90
QBR rating.
That's impressive for a first-year starter.
3 games into the season, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception.
And to help his case too, Nico, he doesn't have much help at wide receiver. His best wide receiver is Romeo Dobbs.
Dobbs.
And Christian Watson hasn't played a snap this year. So
outside
of Dobbs, I couldn't tell you. I know they have.
He's operating
as a tight end.
He's operating with a team that's mostly injured. Mostly injured. And Aaron Jones played. I think did Aaron Jones play week 1?
One game.
Yeah, he played one game in week 1, and he's been hurt. Who's the run game right now? But I mean, you look at all that, and he's still going out and winning games. I'm a
Impressive.
big fan of him. I think
Dude, very
I think
impressive.
he's a great
And he led a
quarterback.
fourth quarter comeback last week against the Saints. They were
Yeah.
being shut out in that game.
I mean,
He
I'll give
scores.
that game a pause for a second, just because if anyone who's ever seen the show understands, I absolutely despise Jameis Winston, and he came in the
Yeah.
second half, and I was like, "There's going to be
Yeah.
0 points scored
That was
this half for
ugly.
them." And guess how many points were scored? 0. Jameis Winston is garbage. I need a button to just play
Yeah,
every
no,
time.
that game. Yeah, but I mean, still, regardless, against a good Saints defense, let a comeback win. So Nico, like I like the point that you first made. The composure, the poise that he has for a first-year starting quarterback. And to be fair, yes, he did sit behind Aaron Rodgers, learn from one of the best in the game for 2 years. I don't care who you learn from. Once you're in there and you're the guy, the pressure's on you, you're expected to lead this team. Man, 2-1, over 90 rating. I give the
I
kid
mean,
kudos. I give him a lot of kudos, a
you
lot of
could say
credit.
that the Packers have come in and haven't really faced a big challenge. I mean, they played the Bears, the Falcons, and the Saints. Saints were a pretty good team, but going at
Falcons aren't scrubs either.
Falcons aren't
Falcons
scrubs, but
beat
they're
them, right?
really
That was
not
their
at
one
that
loss.
level yet. The Lions are
Yeah.
at that level. The Lions are playoff caliber,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah.
This is
Okay.
his first big challenge, and then the
Yeah.
rest of the season is kind of light. I mean, he goes to you go to Vegas, right? Then you go play Denver, and then Minnesota, and then LA, and then you play the Steelers and Chargers. I mean, there's a bunch of teams there who are really not that good teams. The Lions are a good team. If
Mhm.
they beat the Lions, I mean, they do play the Chiefs later in the season, but if they beat the Lions, I won't be surprised if they go to the playoffs
And
this year.
yeah, no, that's a good point, Nico. And to add to that case, the Vikings 0-3. So right now, this NFC North race looks like it's between Packers Lions.
Yeah,
Packers Lions for the
absolutely.
NFC North. But Nico, let's get a little bit into the Lions. Lions come in off a win against the Falcons. Nothing really special from that game. I think it was 20-6 was the final score. It was a low scoring defensive matchup, but Goff and his team were able to secure the win, and he gives the Lions a little more experience and composure at the quarterback position, and I think that's what made the difference in that game. Falcons defense put up a good fight. Their running backs, Bijan, looked good. I think I saw actually Kyle Pitts actually make a couple of good plays too. But Jared Goff he's better than Desmond Ritter, has more
Yeah.
experience, able to get the job done.
Yeah, and I think he has more weapons, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
say he
yeah.
definitely has more weapons than the
Amon
Falcons
Ra.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, um, going into week 1, that big start, like that big, upset against the Chiefs, that was huge for their confidence.
Hmm.
They go into they play Seattle, and they're having a rough time. They lose that game by a touchdown, but still pretty good game, high scoring game. Their defense just really couldn't hold up, and then they beat the Falcons. Again, I think they are a better team than the Packers are. I think they have more weapons. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know what
Amon Ra
Amon-Ra.
St.
Yeah.
Brown is your number one wide receiver. That's an all pro wide receiver. Romeo Dobbs.
I mean, and even on the defensive end, like you have Aiden Hutchinson, who was bot to me, and I know this is a huge thing. To me, he was very close to being rookie of the year last year, defensive rookie of the year.
Say again that name.
The Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was very good. I mean, he was leading the
He made a case.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was leading the leagues in, I think, interceptions at the defensive end position, which is crazy. But they do have a pretty good defense back there.
Anzalano.
Stefan
No,
Gilmore?
no,
No,
no.
he's at the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, they have honestly, I
They have
don't really know
Stephen
who they're.
Gilmore, Stefan's brother. That's who they have
Okay.
that's who they have at cornerback.
They have that blonde-haired linebacker, Alex Anzalano. He's
Yes.
good, tackle machine.
Yeah, that dude with the long hair, right?
Rodriguez, another one of their linebackers.
Mhm.
Just a tough,
Listen, I think
hard-nosed defense. Yeah.
and especially, they from Dan Campbell, he is a defensive oriented, I believe,
He played
head
tight
coach.
end, but
Yeah,
he runs a tough
I
defense.
think he runs a tough
Yeah.
defense. I'm trying to think about who his DC
His
is.
DC is a former safety, Aaron Glenn. I
Aaron
remember from Hard
Glenn.
Knocks.
I'm trying
Former
to think
safety.
about him. But they do I feel like their team, they have a way better team than the Packers do. I do think that if they go into this game, the Packers are gonna have a hard time, especially with all their injuries. But
Yeah, one guy I wanted to talk to and hear your thoughts on, Nico.
yeah.
So he's on my fantasy team, so I'm a little biased towards him. I do like the guy. Last week against the Falcons, Jahmyr Gibbs got his first career start with David Montgomery out. Decent game, 17 carries, 80 yards, no touchdowns. And what confused me was he only caught one pass. And here's a guy at Alabama that caught a ton of passes. And Nico, tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, say it, John. Shut up. He's just excited because he's on your fantasy team. I thought he looked really good when he got into space. Shifty, spin move, juke. Why didn't they involve him more in the pass game? Get that guy into open space.
Yeah,
What's going on?
He had the one catch for I forgot how many yards it was, but he did have 17 rush attempts for 80 yards. I think the way that Detroit runs their defense, it's way more reliant on the run from a running back rather than receiving backs. So he might be a better receiving back, but that's not how their offense runs. You got to look at the running backs that they've had in the past.
Swift.
They had Swift. These are hard.
Jamal Williams.
Swift.
He had a lot of success last year. Jamal Williams just
Swift,
running the ball.
Jamal Williams. Now they have David Montgomery, who he's hurt, but I'm also a very big fan of. And then Jahmyr Gibbs. If David Montgomery was in that game, they would use Jahmyr Gibbs receiving.
Okay.
I would see more. I would see that's when he would come in and start receiving more than he would with. But like you saw last week against the Seahawks, he had 7 receptions, right, and only 7 runs. So with David Montgomery in, his role got more placed into the receiving back section. But I do think that if David Montgomery comes back, he'll be more receiving back, and then they'll just run the ball.
And also short week. I don't know if David Montgomery does play. I really don't know what to expect. I think Jahmyr Gibbs will be the starter tonight. But my X factor for this game and difference maker, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think Jared Goff, I think his experience, I think this will be a close game. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. I think the Lions win by a field goal. I'm going to say they win 24-21. Jared Goff, game-winning drive at the end. He's got a little more experience, a little more composure, and as good as Jordan Love has looked, those big moments, those fourth quarter comebacks, stuff like that, just takes practice. It takes time. You got to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And Jared Goff has faced a lot of scrutiny in his career. The man got kicked out of Los Angeles, the town that drafted him, the place that he went to a Super Bowl with. They kicked his butt to the curb.
Right, the year
after.
They
said, good luck, buddy. Get out of here.
Yeah.
They kicked his butt to the curb. You know what? Kept his chin up. He's found a new home in Detroit. Jared Goff is the difference maker tonight. I think the Lions win 24-21. First touchdown score, Jahmyr Gibbs, baby.
I'm going to go a different key player, but keep it on the same team. Amon-Ra is I could see him if I feel like if Dan Campbell's offense was more shifty and more creative, Amon-Ra would be one of the best wide receivers in the league.
He already is, Nico. I would argue that he already is.
I would say he's out of the top 5.
Okay, but he's close.
But
yeah.
he's a very good. He's a very good wide receiver.
Great year last year.
He was a very good wide receiver. But if he had a better offense, he would be better in the top 5. I would say, but he's not yet. Yeah. But I'm gonna put him as my key player. I do think that the Lions are gonna win, like you said. I think I think it's gonna be close to. I don't want to say it's a field goal, but I'm just gonna go one score game. We'll go 27-20. 27-20
okay,
Lions.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra is gonna have a good game.
We finally get a good rivalry game for a primetime game. I feel like it's been a lot of interdivisional games and stuff like that.
I feel like the next
NFC North, baby.
I feel like the next couple primetime games, there's some of them going to be flexed because there's a big problem with the Jets coming up.
And there's a Broncos Bears one I saw. Oh man.
Yeah.
So we both got the Lions, huh?
They have. I'll tell you this.
We probably just jinxed them, folks.
Sunday night coming up this week
is Jets Chiefs.
Monday
night is Giants.
I don't think
Seahawks.
It's going to be flexed yet.
No, it wouldn't. It's not.
Taylor Swift. Monday is Giants Seahawks. Giants get another one in week 6 against the Bills. Jets get another one against the Raiders in week 10.
Oh, flex that.
That might be flexed. And the Monday night footballs. The Monday night footballs also might be flexed because the Jets have 2 of them, I believe. They had one on week 1, and they are going to have another one against the Chargers in week 9. And the Giants have another one against the Packers.
I mean, yeah, unless the Jets make some changes at quarterback, I guess I'm going. Those aren't very exciting
Some of these games are going to be flexed.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think most of the Jets games are going to be flexed to different times. And I'm surprised they haven't flexed this Sunday night's game because Chiefs-Jets is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, but I think it's still early in the season. Taylor Swift might go. I don't know. We'll see. But I like the point you made about Amon-Ra St. Brown being the difference maker tonight because Jair Alexander, questionable. If he doesn't play, who's going to slow down Amon-Ra, man? Because that guy is a dog. He's a yards after catch machine. He makes difficult catches. So quick, so shifty. He always runs those across the field plays, not very vertical. Nico, I've seen him be vertical, but when he runs across the field, the crossing routes, nobody does it better in the game. Maybe Devontae Adams is the only better crosser, but that guy is freaking exciting. Love watching him play.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a bunch of injuries on the Packer side for sure, and I think that might be the day. If they were coming in with a full team, like you're talking to Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, and they come in with a full team, I definitely think that they can put up more of a fight against the Lions, but not tonight.
Yeah, and then before we log off for the day, I know you got class after this. Man, the Houston Texans really surprised me. CJ Stroud has not thrown an interception yet this year. I have to admit I was wrong about him. I thought he was going to be interception machine. Ohio State, they let him throw the ball wherever he wanted. A defensive coach, first-year head coach.
I think it's more of a Jaguars mess up than it. I think it's more of a Jaguars mess up than it is a Texans win because the Jaguars are. I mean, these were plays that you got to pick up on.
Yeah.
So just get it. I mean, like.
Wait, I got one more question for you as we end the show. So just to recap for you folks, we both have the Lions winning tonight. Close game. I had Jahmyr Gibbs first touchdown scorer. You had.
I'm gonna take. Jared Goff on a run like he did.
They don't let him run the ball.
Like
no.
He ran one in last week. First one as a Lion.
Jared Goff. No way.
No, I'm kidding. Probably. I'll probably give it to. Probably give it to Amon-Ra.
Tight end. Amon-Ra. Okay.
Or maybe Sam Laporta.
Yeah, Laporta.
Yeah, I'll give it. I'll give Laporta. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Laporta at tight end. I'll give him the first.
All right, folks. That's all we got for today.
He's on my fantasy team.
It was exciting this week. Next week, hopefully, we have some better news about the Giants and the Jets. Always more fun to do this show coming off a win. Just real quick before we log off for the day, congratulations to Two Flaquitos, our show of the week here at WIUR. That's hosted by John and Lucas. You can catch them every Thursday live. Today's Thursday. Not sure what time their show's at, but check them out. Their show of the week.
James, what time is their show? Okay.
He's not.
So we're not sure what time it is, but they'll be on later.
Check it out. That's all we got for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week, same time, and hopefully we'll get the Twitter going this week as well.
Yeah.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.